Okay, we've been having a coffee break. Welcome back to the Future 3 Skills Seminar. And to everyone who's present here in London at the moment and everyone who's following us online. Thanks for the feedback concerning some of the lights and everything in the first session. That was really, really good. So we also know that we have some views. The work we did would be nothing without the partners, and now we're going to have a final panel discussion to talk a bit about our work from different angles and from different kinds of partners. And the panel will go on in a way that each panelist has a longer response first and they can comment on each other. So we've got 3 separate questions. And we would really like to hear from you. So if you use the hashtag Future3Skills and respond on Twitter, for example, we would like to ask you how you see the future of the European third sector. What is the future of the European third sector to you? We are also going to talk a bit about it with the participants here who are attending after we finish the panel. But the first panelist is Augusto Gamuzza, who can introduce himself. And he's been studying the professionalization of volunteering. And I'd like to ask you, in light of what we've done in the Future 3 project, how do you reflect our results with regard to your work on the professionalization of the third sector?
Thank you, Marion. Just a few words to introduce myself. I'm Augusto Gamuzza. I work for COPE, Cooperation for Emerging Countries in Europe, but I am assistant professor in sociology at University of Catania in the Faculty of Education. I have started working upon this theme about professionalization of voluntary work, but in this moment I want to give you a sort of intellectual stimulus, and in a certain sense a challenging stimulus, because in general professionalization and voluntarism represents the 2 faces of the same coin. From one side we have what is based upon gift, what is based upon your time given to the other, and this is voluntarism. On the other side, and this is a tendency that I have seen in the last decades concerning the role of the third sector activities and third sector organization, there is this tendency that is professionalism. I am a little bit scared upon the fact that we are trying to change the meaning. We are trying to transform the meaning of a classical idea of voluntarism through the idea of professionalization. As a metaphor, is to bring the market inside voluntarism. In this sense, I am deeply convinced that the 4 scenarios analysis proposed before was really useful. But on the other side, my proposition is to propose a 5th scenario. This 5th scenario is based upon heart and passion. It's based upon values and the ability of voluntary organization to maintain a strong connection with their leader idea, their leader role, but not in a sense of professionalization. Follow the leader. But it is an idea that you have to maintain what is really founding, what really matters into volunteerism. So my my final idea, and this is what I want to give to this conversation, is that we necessitate to be crazy. We necessitate to be eclectic. We have to be crazy because in a world and in a Europe in which walls are rising, in which barbed wires are another time present, it is necessary that there are some fools who wants to really change the situation. And this is how we can give another one a sort of dense meaning for volunteering in this so contradictory time. And this is the last sentence. I think, and I'm deeply convinced that people follows ideas, do not follow organization, do not follow steering committees, do not follow presidents or engaged politicians or anything else, but they follow ideas, they follow their ideals, and they are able even to pay for this, pay in terms of time, pay in terms of motivation. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'd like to ask the other panelists, should we be crazy?
Yes, it's always good to be a little crazy, and in the case of the yes, okay. So yeah, it's good to be a little crazy because the topic is sometimes it needs from us to take some incentives and to take some actions to really change something and to achieve something good. So.
Hi there. Yeah, it's very good, Augusto. Thank you. I suppose I agree with Augusto in the sense that people want to follow ideas and they want to follow something that's substantial, that's genuine, that's sincere, and something that makes a difference. And I am a politician, a local councillor, so a politician. So I would like to think that people will follow something they believe in. And if the politician is saying something that that is helpful and that moves the society on or their community on, then yeah, that's a good thing.
Of course, professionalisation means the staff as well as the volunteers, and there has been some recent research that volunteers feel that they're safe to pursue their ideals if they are managed properly. And some of the ideas in this project was to bring professional skills for the future, and we had some educational institutions involved in this project who do that. Next, I would like to ask Magda about her views as working for an organization who educates the future workforce in the third sector. How do you reflect on the results of this project?
Okay, so hello, my name is Magda Tomczak. I'm an international project coordinator at the University of Humanities and Economics in Łódź, Poland. And my reflections are that the project that took together 10 different European countries was very good and very big success, because organizations and NGOs and even universities can learn a lot from us, because as a part of the project we product very interesting and very useful tools that can be easily used in the education of volunteers managers. And I would like to tell a few things about the project, about the products of this of the project. We have this benchmarking report that has in my opinion, that has two different meanings. Because first of all, after comparative studies, we can see the difference between different European countries' third sectors, and we can see the skills that are needed. And also, our benchmarking report is pretty reliable research that could be used in the future. Also, it is always a good idea to share good practices and to learn from each other's experience. And as well, we collected a few of them, so any one of you can reach it, can check it, and see how it really works. It's not just theories and words; it's the real people, real experiences. But I think what is most valuable for us is the peer learning model we created, because we have our own innovative tool that can help us create different educational materials that can be used in practice, like workbooks and toolkits. So it is very important for me, but I think that also for the rest of the partners in the project, that we really can change something and make a difference in the third sector and our work with volunteers and managerial staff.
So Magda mentioned things that other communities and other people can learn from us. What do you think, if I ask the other panelists, what's the main thing you think that the rest of the world can learn from Future 3?
I try to answer to this question, starting from a methodological consideration. The first one, as Magda told us, the main outcome coming from Future 3 is an integrated strategy that mixes together quantitative tools and qualitative tools, because we are in a society in which benchmarking, in which ranking others are really matters. But on the other side, we need reflexive practices in order to give sense to these numbers, because people are not only numbers. They are flesh and blood, and they change their opinion. And if we take into consideration that Future 3 deals with something that is very that is critically unstable, like the volunteering, like the will to give your time to the other. It is really interesting for me, this kind of mixed method research, and it is very useful.
I suppose the first thing what others can learn from us is that first of all, we're a group of 10 different nations coming together with our professionalism in the area of volunteer management, and that in itself is a great achievement, and that in itself shows that there's quality and substance in what we've tried to achieve. The other thing that the model really provides is a strategy, really, a strategy for moving forward, a strategy for the future. And it's a good, sensible structure that's easy to use and easy to understand as well. And what's really beautiful about the structure is that if you get stuck through any of the processes, there's an ability to go backwards and to go forwards again until we get to the achievable decisions or to the achievable protocol that we want to see happen. So for me, the model in itself is a great process, really, and the outcomes it shows in terms of the outcomes are clear. The other thing is that, so we've already discussed it earlier, really, in part of the presentations, was that the 4 scenarios are actually areas in which affect all of our countries. So there's actually a lot that others can learn from us and what we've achieved through the peer learning model.
Okay, and the last question in the panel goes to Janet, and it concerns time. We heard earlier in Marja-Anitta Pehkonen's presentation that incentives to volunteering vary across time. But also, this means that we need to, as volunteering professionals, to keep ahead of our time, basically, so that we can give volunteers the security. I'd like to ask Janet, as you have long experience in managing and coordinating volunteers, about changes. What kind of changes have you noticed in volunteering? And how do you think that the work we have done can help us manage change?
Thank you. So just a little bit about myself again, or a little bit more about myself. So I am a manager in volunteer management, but it's also a volunteer role. So I do this as a volunteer, my volunteer management role. And I do this in a capacity, a local capacity within the UK, within London, Lewisham area. And it's to do with how we alleviate poverty and build a caring community. And I do this with a superb group of volunteers. Within this project, I'm working with Eco Communities as a project manager. I've worked with the director of Eco Communities, Darren Taylor, for some time. He's excellent at what he does. The work that he does is very much around community libraries and building communities, which is all very great. My background is in sociology, and my background is in social work as well, but very much at the moment community development, community growth and building capacity. In terms of changes within volunteers and the impact of this model, I'm very much for someone who always wants to listen to other people, in the terms of listen to how people can develop things and to improve things and to make it better. And sometimes we don't always make that time or that space for that to happen. And but when we do that, that's what brings about, that's what we can offer our support to try and bring about change. And for me, the changes that can happen through this model is enabling the managers, first of all, to make that time, to recognise and to appreciate that people can make something that can improve our organisations. When I was trying to think about how to explain this to you, I was thinking that if a manager always makes the decisions, then you may always end up with an apple, right? But if you involve volunteers, then you could end up with a fruit salad. So what would you prefer, an apple or a fruit salad? And it's that thing about, actually, we can, when we are doing things together and when we discuss things together and have outcomes together, it's much more enjoyable, because people then feel empowered, they then feel as if they're making a difference, they then feel more significant, and also people bounce off each other. We have a saying here that that iron sharpens iron, and there's this thing that we can all improve each other as we build together. The changes I've noticed then, therefore, is the strengths in people. When I was doing this model with a group of other managers, there was this sense of unburdening as well, because you're expressing your desires or your issues or your troubles or what you want to change. So there was this sense of unburdening, and that in itself is beautiful for a person's well-being, for their health, even for us. We love talking about ourselves generally as people, and we love speaking about what we're doing, and this is good, you know. So for us, the change can be great because it improves how a person feels about themselves, and it improves their ability to feel valued, and therefore to improve our organisations. So that change, that personal change, is good, and that building capacity is really good as well.
So from the other panelists, I'd like to know, how can we get a fruit salad? How can we get the volunteers to take initiative and be active and take their organisations into the future? We won't have any voluntary organisations without volunteers.
Well, actually, it's a bit tricky question for me because, well, I'm not a volunteer. I work in a completely different area. But I think that, well, the volunteers, maybe if we give them some kind of, well, let's say reward, but not in financial way, because not always we can do this. But maybe some benefits that they can get from being part of the cause. That's I don't know. It's a very tricky question for me. Yeah, to motivate them, to give them the purpose, because sometimes, well, I think we like to be rewarded in some way for our job. We like to hear, well, good job, well done, and I think that will be important as well.
Yeah, my idea is in a certain sense complementary to the previous one, because my idea is that the volunteer process and the volunteer engagement can be maintained only if we have shared leaderships. I personally think, but I am a sociologist, so I am very, I am, I have my Weltanschauung, and um, the the most danger for for a volunteer association is the process of leaderization, because when there is someone who decides what where is the good for all the others and where is the bad for all the others, we can be very lucky, and this person is like a saint who knows everything. But on the other side, these ideas has to survive to their to their producers. So in this way, what is important is a shared leadership. You have to take on your boat as many people as you are able to do, like made Noé with the arch of the alliance. That's the same. We have to englobe diversity. We have to englobe our users, because if we are able to maintain a strict connection with our end users and in a certain sense promoting them to the decisional level, it will be continuously our associations or volunteering experience can grow in time. It is not a matter of pyramids, it's a matter of galaxies that working together.
Okay, it's time to get into our final discussion. I hope you have got some idea about what we achieved. Perhaps what the greater purpose of this project could even be, because of course the project does products. A project brings people together and it brings some tangible results, but but the things that go on after the project matter more. And we'd like to hear, I hope that we have still followers online. Please go on Twitter and use the hashtag Future3Skills, FUTUR3Skills, to tell us what you think the third sector in Europe will be like in 10 years' time. For me, the one word would be courageous. Courage was a word that came up with the peer learning group that I facilitated in Helsinki. We had 6 people who worked in very different kinds of NGOs, and a lot of the time they talked about courage, about their own courage to listen to the volunteers, about their volunteers' courage to meet more diverse groups of people. And I think that the voluntary sector in Europe will be courageous in 2027. But we'd like to hear from you. We're going to read through, if we can find some of your tweets, we're going to read through them. We're going to also ask, because we have other partners present here as well, what do you think the third sector will be like in 2027? I'm just going to take the mic around. I'm going to start here. You won't be able to see us, but you will be able to hear us.
Well, if we consider the trend of the evolution of social services from the state to civil society, in 2027 we may have third sector that replace the public health care, and that's mean third sector really high professional in order to cover very specific and professional services like healthcare, people with disabilities, integration of refugees, and so on. So if the trend is this, the national states are not able to cover the huge demand of social services. This demand is going to be taken, and the offer is going to be given by the third sector.
Okay, that was Manuel, who's from Italy. Any other comments? We'd like to hear, because we haven't heard much on social media. Just check. So if anyone else in the audience, what will the third sector be like in Europe in 2027? Courage and services don't always, well, you can be courageous and offer services, but we need to take a stand on what we do and what kind of society we want to live in. So.
Hello. Yeah, I believe that social media is going to take a greater position. You know, things like Facebook, Twitter, and emerging social media kind of apparatus. This is going to be pulling the global community closer together. And I think when we talk about things such as shared resources, we never really think about things like intellect, information, training and development. So I think kind of shared knowledge is going to spread a lot more faster. Thank you.
Krasimir, can you come forward? We can't bring the mic up to you.
I think that all of you know about the growth of the social enterprises and their key role in our society. So I think that in the near future, volunteers, NGOs and social enterprises will work as a whole network. So yes, I think.
So we have diverse group of partners, and we can see that the third sector is very diverse in itself, and it needs to look for new partnerships all the time. That's what we have learned in the project as well, that we need to work with each other, but find partners from other sectors in society as well. Any other comments? Yes.
It's interesting this, because I was talking to somebody earlier, and we were talking about maybe having some type of register of the expertise, really, of different volunteer organisations or champions, really, in terms of, and then that means you could tap onto that resource in different countries. So like a directory, similar to what you were saying as well, like some type of directory. So therefore we can just have more communication, and we can share the expertise, really, which is what we've already tried to do and what we are doing here.
Okay, we have time for a few more comments. We are slightly ahead of schedule, but I'm going to ask the panel to conclude anyway in a few minutes. What happens after the Future 3 project?
Okay, so after this project is finished, we start another one, which is in some way a follow-up for this project. Although we will focus on the volunteers itself, and we still have a lot of work to do. But I believe that after 2 years of experience working in this amazing partnership, we will manage all the goals and all the aims we want.
Yes, what I think that remains after Future Tree is this wonderful group of people working together outside the projects. Me in this day, I have the possibility to better know a lot of people that I have really appreciated during the lifetime of the project. But when you have the possibility to concretely connect with someone, not only via Facebook or via all these very useful social media, but when you have warm relationships, this is one of the best output that I can find outside our project or in the next future.
We spent some time this afternoon discussing and looking at the future of the project, and we came up with lots of different ideas, and we shared that, which is one of the things we're strong and we're very good at doing. And I think we will all continue in our own way within our own countries to develop, to share the information, and to continue doing the peer learning model. But at the same time, I think we'll be sharing that information as well, because the website will continue, and Twitter and so on. So I think as well as the lovely friendships and relationships and all of those things, I think this will develop and continue to be strong and continue to grow.
Okay, I'd like to thank everyone. I'd like to thank the panelists for their enjoyable and thoughtful comments this afternoon. I'd like to thank the audience. I'd like to thank everyone watching. We're going to share this recording and the materials later on our website. Thank you very much. We're going to make the future, of course, all the volunteers and we all make the future together. It won't happen if we don't do something. So we're going to start making it. We're going to get a new project. Thank you very much. Bye for now.